Hey everybody out there, my name is Dragnix, and this is Overwatch Monday. This is where I take issues in the tech and gaming world and talk about them at length while putting some Overwatch footage in the background. Why Overwatch footage? Well, I play a lot of Overwatch for fun, and guess what? I want to use the footage somehow. But before I begin, I've got a couple of giveaways to take care of now, don't I? First, I've got a copy of Valhalla to give away from the last Overwatch Monday video. Overwatch Monday, Overwatch Friday, don't remember what it was. But the winner of that copy is on the screen right about now. I thank everybody for entering, and for the person who won, contact me via my Steam information in the description below. The copy is for Steam, therefore I sort of gotta give it to you there. But I got one more thing to take care of. The Final Fantasy 15 copy from the Final Fantasy 15 review. And the winner of that copy is on the screen right about now. Now, unlike before, I will contact you personally on this one. For the Steam giveaways, I do want people to, interact with me, so I ask them to, contact me. But considering I need the actual information, aka the address information for the physical copy of the game, I will contact you. As for the game that I give away this week, it's on the screen now. Why do I not just say the game? Because I don't know what game I'm giving away. I've got a bunch of games in my library, as well as a bunch of keys. I just have to go through them and see which one that I want to give away, and I want to get this video done during the weekend. As for how you enter, well, you have to do two things. One, you have to be subscribed to the channel, of course. You can subscribe with that little red button in the bottom left corner of your screen. But secondly, what you need to do is answer this question. What do you think I should do with the channel moving forward? Which leads us to the topic for this week, the channel and the channel moving forward. Now, many of you know that I will not be able to continue doing this full time on YouTube. The fact of the matter is, the Patreon did not get enough donations for me to make a living wage off of, as well as the fact that I just didn't get the presence on YouTube to be able to live off of ad revenue. Hell, for the month of December, I didn't even make $100 on the videos that I created. Let me put it bluntly, I failed. It sucks, but my morals and my sort of wants out of the channel sort of conflicted with what you need to do on YouTube to grow. A lack of clickbait, looking at games that are interesting, not just, the biggest games out there. And the fact of the matter is, my style was a lot different than everything else out there, but it's not a style that necessarily appeals to the mass audience. I am very detailed in the reviews. I am very detailed in my analysis of things, and that's not going to bring in all the kids. That's not going to bring in all the regular fans. They just want to know if the game's good or not, and yeah, I can understand that a little bit. Sadly, that's life, and while I love doing this with all my heart, I have to get another job to be able to make ends meet. Now, with that said, will the channel go away? No. Will the content slow down? Yes, and significantly. The fact is, I was doing this 24/7. I didn't go out that much. I didn't do a lot of other things. I focused on this. Now I've got to change that. So over the last couple of days, I've been putting a schedule together of exactly how I'm going to go about things. And I want to share it with you guys because you guys deserve to know. Yes, not just the Patreon people who have donated to the channel, which the link is in the description, by the way. I know that's a little bit of a, shameless plug, but hey, I do make good content in my opinion, and if you want to continue supporting that content, that does help. But even beyond that, you all should know just in general, if you're a fan of mine. So, here's what I'm going to do going forward. Starting with Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. That is the job search time. This would be a normal 40-hour job in that little sort of slot. And the fact is, I need to get a job. So I'll be spending majority of my time trying to find that. Whether it be just looking up online, doing interviews, or, just researching or, learning a little bit. Maybe teaching myself a couple of skills that will be handy for some interviews. That time is going to be dedicated to that and nothing but that. But what about after 4 p.m.? Well, that's where things got a little bit interesting because I went back and forth on whether or not to just keep on creating videos, doing reviews, and so on and so forth. The fact is that with it not being the primary portion of my time, aka I can't dedicate as much time to it, that means I'm not going to hit as many games as I used to if I went with the old format. And part of the reason I started this channel was to give a little bit of a spotlight to those games that no one heard of. Games like Valhalla, games like Enigma, and those games that really don't get the attention from the mainstream media, but are fantastic games. Hell, Valhalla was my game of the year for those who watched that video. Which made me think, okay, maybe I need to stream a bit more. I've always dabbled in it. I've always said, okay, I'm going to do a little bit more streaming. And from the streaming that I've done, when it's actually been able to go up and didn't have, connection issues, it's been successful in my opinion. Now, with that said, my sort of style doesn't necessarily do well with streaming at first, but I think I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with it. However, the sort of basis for this channel was edited reviews, and so I'm sort of torn right now. But I'm going to try something going forward, a combination of streaming and editing, and the schedule is going to be on screen right about now. So, Mondays and Wednesdays will be the game that I'm actively reviewing, aka the bigger game. So, for the next couple of weeks, it will be games like The Last Guardian, as well as Shantae Half Genie Hero. I've been streaming both of them a little bit on here and on Twitch, and well, I want to continue doing that. The first one will be Shantae Half Genie Hero. I do want to cover that game fully. I think it's worth it. And while I do have problems with The Last Guardian, I do want to also fully review that and give you guys an idea of what the game has to offer. I will be doing that on Twitch, not on YouTube. The fact of the matter is that when it comes to YouTube, let's just be honest, YouTube has been dropping the ball a lot lately with not only other YouTubers, but in general. The fact is they are not taking care of their user base, they are not taking care of the bigger guys, the medium guys, or even the smaller guys like myself. With that said, while I do have some problems with Twitch and the content that they ban on their service, they have been more responsive to their users. They've been trying to support them. And when I look at both services right now, Twitch is the superior one, and I have to take that into account. So, I will be streaming on Twitch and Twitch alone. We'll get to how YouTube comes into play later on, though. Well, what about Tuesdays and Thursdays? Tuesdays and Thursdays will be reserved for indie games. That was a big reason why I started the channel, aka I wanted to give those games highlights, and I want to give them highlights on the same level as the bigger games in question. Now, even though that's going to hurt my growth, the fact is, I'm not so focused on growth now that I have to get another job. So, I can go back to those smaller games that people may not have heard of. Now, I want to make something clear off the get-go. This is not going to be my first introduction of the game in terms of me looking at it for the first time. When I go into one of these streaming sessions, I will have at least played an hour or two of the game to get sort of a taste of the game so that I can give you guys some reasonable information right out of the get-go. I don't want to be a streamer who just, launches the game for the first time and just sort of has to wing it in terms of the information. I want to give you guys information out of the get-go so that you can make a decision on whether to keep on watching. And if it's not the type of game for you, then, just shut it off and go, watch another video or watch somebody else's video. I will be scheduling this 2 weeks at a time. So, coming up on Tuesday, I'll be looking at Killing Room, an FPS in a game show-like format. It has got roguelike elements, and even though it is a little bit lacking on the graphical side, it does have some fun elements to it, and I do want to sort of highlight it in a couple of ways. I do want to look at its game design in particular, because mostly, well, it's got a lot of problems, but it's got a lot of strengths as well. Coming up on Thursday will be A Quiver of Crows. It is a top-down shooter as you play a raven-crow- whatever it is, and you're just shooting things left and right. It's got a unique art style, and it's got a lot of interesting elements to it. I say interesting because I don't want to give away my opinion of the game, but you should probably watch that stream. Next Tuesday will be Masquerita Song of Shadows. It is a tactics RPG with a very unique style. It was mentioned very recently by Total Biscuit on one of their podcasts on how it didn't get attention. And I did get a key early on for it, but it just didn't fit into what I was covering at the time. It is a RPG, so it's going to be longer, and, well, I do want to cover it because it hasn't gotten the coverage that it probably deserves. Next Thursday will be Audalis The Dark Call. This is a game that I've had in my backlog for a while. It's a Castlevania game, and the only reason I didn't cover it at the time was my issues with OBS. No matter what I did, OBS would have problems. I finally fixed that, and now with streaming and now being able to do more content like this, then yes, I will take a look at this game because I love Castlevania type games. That will be for the first couple of weeks. Now, going forward, I will try to schedule new games that are just hitting the market. I don't know what kind of attention that will get, unfortunately, mostly because instead of making a review video on the launch of the game, I will be streaming it most likely. And yes, that is going to be a little bit different because it's different audiences in question. Friday will be the wild card day. It will be a streaming of my choice. I may choose to, continue review another indie game, or maybe I just, do some Overwatch and interact with you guys. Friday is that day where it's like, okay, maybe I just take the day off at this point. But hey, I will try to do it more days than not. Now, you may be asking yourself, hold on, what happens to the edited review videos? Well, I am gonna try something different. With the streaming footage, I am going to try to make those shorter review videos. It won't be like, the Final Fantasy 15 review, that's for sure. It will be more critical eyes, it'll be more flybys, first impressions types of deal. And if I think a game is worthy of a full review, it's not going to be mediocre games. It's not going to be games right in the middle. It's going to be either games that are really, really strong or reasonable in a certain aspect, or games that are so horrible that I need to sort of bring attention to it. The key word there is try. Again, this is going to be an experiment with, me focusing on trying to get another job. And again, I reserve the right to change the schedule because guess what? If I do get a new job, things could, go all over the place in terms of my responsibilities and everything along that line. But I'll be using Saturday and Sunday to do editing, to, take a look at those games, get those first hour or two in the game that I'll be looking to stream for the indie games in question, and just, general channel management, sharing videos, promoting the channel, so on and so forth. And that's really it when it comes to the channel. Again, I really don't want to do this, but guess what? I don't have a choice. And I appreciate everybody who supported me, appreciated everyone who has, contributed to the Patreon, contributed by sharing videos and everything like that. But, this is how it is. One side note that I have to make though, I had promised that the X-Blades video would come out on January 10th. I ran into a little bit of an issue there. Now, the script is mostly done and the editing is, reasonably there. But the problem is that I want to do some live action segments very similar to Stranger of Sword City. And you're probably asking yourself, okay, what's stopping you from doing that? My tablet's busted. Unfortunately, my tablet, it just stopped turning on one day. And I've looked at it, I don't know exactly what's going on with it, but that was my camera. That's what I used to, capture the other footage. I don't have another camera to use, or I should say, videotape recorder, and I could use my phone, but it's not of a high quality, and so I'm sort of stuck here. I could do it without the live action segment, but I honestly put a lot of time and thought into this script, and well, I really want it in there. And so I apologize. I know that I promised it, but I'm gonna have to, put it on the back burner for now until I get that fixed or find the source of income so that I can, get back into a stable position, get a camera, and be able to do that for you guys on the weekends. This is all subject to change, and I will tell you guys if it changes, but the fact is that, the future is very, very dark right now. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'll be moving across the country to get a job, so on and so forth. That, again, I don't want to continue saying this, but that's the situation. I know a lot of people are upset, but I don't know what to tell you. You've got to be able to eat. You got to be able to, live your life. And this is the way that I have to go about things. Unless, of course, all of a sudden the Patreon gets, $900, $1,000 a month in it. It would have to be more than that at this point to be able to deal with some of the other stuff that I've had to sacrifice. So, I'm sorry, but that's the deal. Now, Patreon itself. I've gone back and forth because I don't like the fact that I have the Patreon up and I'm not producing the content that I was before in that case. With that said, people have said, keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. We still want to support you. I will update the Patreon on what's going on, the new schedule and everything like that. And even though I'm hesitant to keep it up, I will. And I will make it clear that, the content's slowing down. It's going to be different content from before. But guess what? This is what's going to happen. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. But as always, just keep on gaming. Regardless of what's going on with the channel, regardless of the content that I'm able to create, find those games that you really enjoy and just, have fun. Gaming is something I wanted to dedicate my life's work to because it has brought me a lot of joy, a lot of lessons, and just, it's been a very, very stable part of my life in terms of being there to help me out of certain situations. Keep that up for yourself because gaming is worth it in the end. Don't believe all the mainstream media saying, oh, you get addicted, you become a horrible, shooter who, ravages places and things like that. No. The truth of gaming is that it brings out the best in people, at least in my opinion. Anyway, I will see you all later.